You are listening to episode 291 of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. Welcome to the Peaceful Mind Podcast, a place for creating the peace of mind you need to be the best mom you are created by God to be. If you want to bring more balance, more joy, and more peace to your motherhood, this is the place for you. I'm your host, certified life coach and Catholic mom, Danielle Tino. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. This week feels like it's going to be a little bit different. I don't have an outline like I usually do. I don't have anything except a script in my head that is going to be off the cuff. Like, I'm just going to freely kind of think about things, what you would want to know and hear, be as honest and transparent as I can as possible. And hopefully it will end up being an episode that will bring you a lot of insight and value, especially if you're someone like me who is right now interested in getting healthier, losing weight, building more strength, just overall, like I said, getting more healthier. Now, 10 episodes ago, episode 291, if you haven't listened to that, either stop this one and go listen to it, or after you listen to this one, go back and listen to it. It's where I introduced my 10% healthier program that I had, that I offer, that is available to you. And I want you to know that that has played a significant role in where I am right now. As you've read, the title is How I Lost 20 Pounds at Age 50. And I also want to add that at the beginning, it's happened in 10 months. That is the length. And even though my health program is 10% healthier in 10 weeks, I want you to know that those 10 weeks and then another 10 weeks, now has put me into having followed my own program for 10 months. But I really just wanted to have an episode that would bring you some peace of mind around your own health or weight loss goals. And I know many of us don't feel peaceful about it. In fact, I didn't leading up to this journey. Not always. This was just a season of my life where I was getting to where I didn't have much, peace about it. And now I do. And so on this podcast, I usually am focused on helping you have more peace of mind. And I know a lot of you want to have more peace of mind about your own bodies and health and weight loss. So I just thought I would tell you what was going on in my life, what kind of led up to it, and how I did it. And hopefully in there, you don't take it as this is like the answer for me, or this is what's going to work for me. But I want you to know that you also can say, oh, okay, I think I want to try what she did, or I want to borrow some of the thoughts that she had. Everything is up for grabs for you to use for you or use against you. And I'm hoping that you will use it for you. I hope you will use it for inspiration. And again, I'm always here talking, offering, and hoping that there's a new thought, or belief, or perspective, openness, willingness in your mind that resonates, that then gets you into action. And of course, you just have to try it out yourself, right? And see for yourself and come up with your own conclusions and results. But I know that I have made tremendous transformation and growth in my life because others were so brave to be vulnerable and open themselves and tell me their stories that made me believe it was possible that I could do it too. So that is the purpose behind this episode today. So let's get started. If you want to know how I hear, I'll tell you why the 10-month mark is. because it all initially started around my birthday. Well, that's not true. I'm thinking of this last journey to this weight loss. The starting point to me is last October, so 10 months ago, because I'm recording this podcast a little earlier than it goes out. So, but of course, there's always like the journey before the journey. So that's where I want to start. So I'm even going to go back just to let you and preface, that so my first career was of a professional ballet dancer. Okay. So if you can imagine being a professional ballet dancer, that my life really entailed good health in the exercising, in the stretching, in the hydration, in the food, just fueling myself in a positive way in order to sustain a lifestyle of professional ballet. And so that was like my first career. So it was totally built into what I did on a daily basis. And then after that career, I had a career in Pilates. So I became certified and then opened my own studio. And this was all while I was also a new mom. And I ended up doing that while my kids were in their younger years. So for about a total of 8 or 9 years now. I can't really remember exactly. So look how taking care of young kids and then the work that I chose outside the home, which was a Pilates business, also was a type of career that kept me healthy and active and well, you get the picture. They both entailed exercise and movement on a regular basis. And then I'm just going to jump to coaching because I am in my 7th year. So about my mid-40s or right before my mid-40s is when I began coaching. And so I just want to start there to show you how coaching and more not, in person, but over the internet and over Zoom and in an office is, you can kind of see, is a sitting job, right? And so definitely comparing to those other two type of careers that I had, this one caused me to be more sedentary. And not that I wouldn't do, exercise outside of, but I just wanted to kind of preface that with, I would say that this was probably the most sedentary kind of section of my life. So I want you to see that kind of played a role in where I got to the place where I had gained weight or did not feel like I was at my optimal health for my age. Now, at another time, even after coaching started, I did go on a weight loss journey. And it was different from this time around. The first time I was following something that had me doing a few things. No flour products, no sugar products. And there was this idea behind of not really exercising or doing too much weightlifting or anything because it was like wanting you to see the effects of the no sugar, no flour. Also, this intermittent fasting was built into this. But I say that to be like, it really did work for me as far as fat loss. It took me about 6 months, and I think this was around 2019, so this was also pre-COVID, that worked in the weight loss sense. But what I will say is that it felt very hard, very restrictive. I mean, it wasn't all that, but it was also very easy to gain back. It's like, I now see why. And some of you might listen and be like, well, of course, like if you, restrict yourself that way and you're eating or you're not exercising, then your metabolism slows. And then as soon as you eat, but again, like, it's not like it came back all at once, but it was over time. It just wasn't like lasting and sustainable. And then, it did take a while to get to a place where I was feeling like, my body is not how I want it to be. But it was never enough where I was ready to try any new kind of regimen. And then life, just goes on. And then one of my coaches last year, maybe it was the beginning of 2024, a couple things were going on for me. So this is the beginning of that year was when my father passed away. All two of my children were off to college. I knew that I had, one left. So I was like kind of gearing up for that change. I was also seeing the whole 50th birthday in the horizon. And I remember, like, I can see it, like, I just think of it as like molecules just starting to like reform, where I was like, I really feel like I could put some more attention and on my health. And I could see that I had kind of gotten into some habits, especially, to be specific, the one about evening sweet eating, post-dinner sweets. And I knew I'd always carried around this story in my head that I don't drink enough water, that I didn't really like it, or, it's not fun, or I'd be having to like choke it down if I had as much as they said I wanted. I kind of carried around this story. So there was just several things happening. And then I didn't even make a huge shift. I think at this point, I was just starting to feel like maybe I want to put some attention to my health. But at the same time, another coach that has been a very big influence in my life, and I would call a mentor, she also was turning 50. And in her own coaching practice that I follow and listen and get coached from, she started having a focus around food and health and weight loss and just a lot of the tools that go along with it, things that I didn't quite yet understand, like the glucose monitors. And then there's, been a lot of talk, I know you all know about hearing so much about macronutrients. I had once tried Fitness Pal with a coach, and that experience probably also is what kept me from getting on this journey sooner, is because when I was with this particular person working on my health, I didn't feel like she heard me or understood me, that I didn't want to go to that past time where it was very restrictive, and that I didn't think that it was sustainable to not go without sweets, that I wanted to. And then I also was very resistant in my mind to having to like write down my food and keep it logged. And that's what I just felt like, Fitness Pal, that online app that I heard people using, I just now, in retrospect, I realized how many mind blocks, how many thought errors, how many like really strong beliefs I had built up that were like one of the main challenges I would have to even getting on a new weight loss journey, because my mind was just so focused on not doing certain things, or the bad, kind of experience that I've had in the past. Anyways, all that to say, to set you up for watching this other coach, it was, I don't know, it probably was 10 months at least that I was listening and learning and but I still wasn't doing anything about it. I literally was just kind of, I don't know, what do you call it? I was just interested. I was just interested in maybe losing weight. I was interested in building more muscle. I was interested in getting healthier. But I was never to the point where I was like, yes, we're ready, let's do it. But that interested time was a time where my mind loosened. I heard this other coach and her approaches and the different tools that I didn't know about to try. I also was in the same time thinking about turning 50. I knew that I also wanted to get together like with my college roommates who were also turning 50 that year. And it just sort of like felt like that was a milestone time to, right, have something to get fit for. So I did purchase a Peloton, and I even named my Peloton name with the number 50 in it. And this was when I was still in my upper 40s because I was like, oh, that's when I want to, really lose weight, get healthy, get strong, and do some of these health goals that I had been putting off for a while. But again, like there was no commitment there yet. But I do see that even if you are in the season and you're listening to this is what I'm saying. Maybe just hearing me will just unlock a little something. It doesn't mean you have to get started now, or maybe you will be inspired by what I have to say to get started on something now. But either way, I just want you to know, watching, learning, seeking people out who you like maybe know or have done it in a way you want to, or if there's something that you're blocked by, like for instance, like if it was like that app Fitness Pal, right? Like maybe you know somebody who uses it and you just ask to have a conversation. Anything that you can kind of get your mind prepped before you go all out to just be more confident, open, possibility to how things might work for you once you do get committed. And so listening to other people who, when they're talking about their health or health journeys, and I just want to, again, offer you all today that it was imperative before I started on when I would say was the actual beginning of losing weight. There was a whole section of time that led up and prepared my mind to that actual switch to commitment. So I think a bit about it like an iceberg. And this may be because I'm just off of a trip to Iceland where I actually went and saw glaciers and heard the tour guide talking about, what percentage was underwater. And anyways, I don't want to digress from the thing, but I feel like all that prep time of kind of watching people, learning, listening to this coach, attending the coaching, hearing what she had to say and helping other people with their weight loss, blocks and challenges and stuff. That was like the bottom that you didn't see. And then comes my 50th birthday. So I didn't keep it secret. I think I told you all last year, if you go back to the October when I'm talking about turning my milestone birthday. So I went on a trip with my husband to Hawaii to celebrate this big milestone. And while we were there was lots of pictures, right? And I would see these pictures and I literally would think to myself, this can't be how I look. It's not. Like here I am in my own mind, walking around in my body, thinking about how I looked, and then I would see it back in a photo. But thank goodness I know through coaching how powerful my thoughts are, and I also onto myself about other people, seeing other people in pictures and seeing how they looked like not like how I see them in real life. Like it looks a little distorted, lighting, angles, all of that. I mean, there's a whole industry out there that helps us be able to pose to make us look taller or thinner or whatever it is. So, I mean, you can go on YouTube for that. You can find, but so I was able to be on that trip and see the pictures and not let that put me down like a negative rabbit hole. I was able to just be fascinated and go and curious and be like, okay, that's interesting. If that's really what I look like and that's not what I think I look like, or maybe the camera is reflecting, the trueness and I haven't just seen it before. But I just want to tell you, I was so proud of my coached brain and my self-coaching in that situation to be able to be like, this is, not going to define my trip or my birthday or my age. And I really allowed it to be that seed that finally sprouted, that I became committed as soon as I returned from that trip. So again, I feel like I kind of was interested and a seed was planted that I'd like to go on a weight loss journey and a health journey, but the seed just lay there. I hadn't given it any water, any nutrition yet, any sunshine. And maybe that was it. Maybe it was the sunshine of Hawaii that finally made my seed start to sprout. But anyway, that's what brings me then to October of last year, my birthday. And as soon as we went back, this is when I said to myself, I felt committed in my body that I am going to do this. And so then the question was, how? How am I going to do it? And I decided then and there, I remember sitting down and asking myself, what do I know that works? What do I want to focus on first? How do I think it would be the easiest way to start? I asked myself some really what I call powerful questions, and I actually took the time to answer them. Now, it did mean that my brain had to go into the past and say what didn't work or what I didn't like about it. And what I became the foundation for my success and the foundation for the course that I then created that is out there and available for you all if you feel like you're committed to your own health journey right now at this time or stage in your life. And that was kind of what I teach all the time and coach on all the time in my coaching practice. It was that doing something small that my brain felt capable of handling, and that also felt like it was some type of action, because we need action for results, that my brain said, that's pretty easy. That would be a nice small start. And for me, that had to do with lifting weights. And I think that also correlates with the age of 50, because what they say in the medical field, which, by the way, I should have at the beginning of this podcast said a caveat that I am not a doctor at all. And so for any of the things that you hear here or try, definitely you want to get your doctor's okay about it as well. But where was I? Oh, it was about the small, because I help overwhelmed moms have more peace, balance, and joy. And as I'm embarking on this new health journey, I wanted peace, balance, and joy. And I didn't want overwhelm. And so for me, the opposite of overwhelm is small, easy, taking some action, and staying away from it being a total life overhaul, because that is where the big jump comes, which our brain does not handle big jumps. So it needs to be something that feels doable at the moment. And again, I add ease to there, because if not, we will fall into the all or nothing trap. It'll just be like a total overhaul of your health where you're like, okay, now I'm doing it all. I am going to do an hour of cardio every day, and I'm going to lift weights, and then I'm going to walk, and I'm going to totally get rid of sugar in the house, and I'm going to, follow this strict diet or whatever, that's your brain will shut down. It will be like, no way, no thank you, I cannot do that. And so I decided with 10 minutes of weight training. That was the first thing that I started with. And then I added in 5 minutes of abdominals. And then I finally added in 10 minutes of cardio. And for me, it was the Peloton bike. So that is what I started on to lose 20 pounds, which was exercise. I don't think I changed anything else because, again, that felt like too overwhelming to add more. But those exercises and just 10 minutes, that's the way my brain said, well, I can do that. I can just do 10 minutes of weights, and 5 minutes of abs, 10 minutes on the bike, literally 25 minutes. And then again, I think I did 3 to 4 times a week at the start. So anyways, I think I was like 6 weeks in, and that's when my husband sort of joined me a little bit. And this whole time, I remember being like, is this working? Is this enough? And I would have to talk back to my brain and say, yes, it is. It's enough. It is working. And then my faith comes in here, right, where I don't need to see it to know that it's happening, right? And I did this for 10 weeks. And it wasn't even all the way, the 10 weeks didn't end. But on this first 10 weeks, this is when I was kind of like formulating, like, there's something to this. Like, this is helping. I am feeling stronger. And at this time, I actually decided to create my own program that was around this all or nothing thinking, eradicating all or nothing thinking, and just about becoming, because I had done the 10 minutes, I decided 10% healthier. So at the end of these 10 weeks of exercising, I had actually also created a health program along with it, a course, a self-study course. Okay. And then this is when I got the idea that I really believed this was working for me. And then I wanted to be able to share. So I opened it up to my clients, and I then created the 10% Healthier in 10 Weeks program, and I took 5 beautiful mamas through it. And I, again, go back to episode 281. Yes, this episode is 291 to episode 281 to hear about that. Okay, so that was also part of my success because I then was working on my own goals. This time, this next 10 weeks, I added in water, hydration. I added 80 to 100 ounces of water a day. To that, I kept the exercise program the same. My brain felt at that point after 10 weeks, would be easy now to add in the water. And I did my health goal, and along with each week, like the support and guidance and accountability of working with these other ladies and helping them with their goals. And especially the mindset and coaching part, which I will offer right now, that if you are considering a program, we don't want to go it alone. Get a coach, get a friend. Somehow have that support and accountability built in. I know that that's what made this time around so successful. So everyone, after another 10 weeks, here I am 20 weeks from my birthday, where I have been consistent with these small, doable weightlifting and cardio at this point with the bike, still the 10 minutes. And then the water, right? It was really, and then my husband had joined me by now. So it started to become something, there was all those like intangible kind of results were also happening, where it was like, now it was kind of like exciting that we were doing it together, or that we had a partner, we're kind of keeping each other accountable. And I was feeling better. I was feeling stronger. Now, I would say at this point, I really didn't see a difference in the mirror. I kept looking, right, for those muscles to just like pop out right away. But I knew that I was avoiding and being a little evasive to the food part But that was okay because remember, if I had taken on the food part at the beginning too, and the water and the exercise, that would have been too overwhelming. And it wouldn't have felt easy to my brain, and I probably wouldn't have stayed committed. But it was, again, the 10% healthier mindset and attitude that just kept me thinking, I can do this. This is easy. And you do start to feel differently after a while, and then that builds more motivation in you. Okay, so I see that as kind of like the second, like, just huge win, which was the program that I had created and then working with other people through it. And at the end of that, I decided to just kind of uptick. I was ready to do a little bit more exercise. I was like, I feel that I want to do 15 minutes. And again, it was consistent at 10 for a while until it naturally was this inner desire to do more. And so I upticked the exercise just a bit. And really at this point, I remember getting on the scale when I came back from Hawaii, but I chose not to weigh throughout this time. And then I went to I think it was February, end of February or March. And I went to some friend's house, and there was this whole big spread out. And one of my friend's friends, I didn't know her very well, started talking about that she was working with a nutritionist. And it was at this point my ears perked up, and I was like kind of listening. Again, this is that whole prep of your mind. Because I had done the work to where I got to now, hearing her really kind of opened me up to, all right, now I might be ready to add the food piece to it. And so I asked for the name of the person and called them, talked with them, and got a feel, kind of took along some questions that I knew, like what I didn't like about the one other time I told you I had someone who I felt like didn't listen or hear me or what my needs were or cared about my aversion to writing things down and that kind of thing. And I just, through this conversation, I said, this is the person for me. And so I encourage all of you to do that too. It's the same thing like when I offer my free Back to Balance calls for anyone who wants to come and explore coaching. That's what you want to do. You want to find out, like, if you're someone who's like, I want changes, I want results, and I want to not do it alone and someone to help me, then this is what happens. You essentially have this see if you're a fit kind of conversation. And I knew that through this conversation that she was great and she heard me and listened to me and would be a really great addition to my goals here with nutrition and weight loss. And two, the other thing is that I am totally all in on having a coach. All the successes that I've had in my life, of recent notable, it is literally because I had my mind managed and invested in having somebody who helped me with my goals. So that's never a far from a total 100% yes for me to have coaching when I have specific, goals like this. And so that was this past spring. 4 or 5 months ago now. Again, just a quick map. This is all talking off my cuff. I don't have any of this stuff in front of me. That I started working with a nutritionist, and what she does is she does provide meal plans, but she provides this machine called InBody. So it really became not about the scale. This is my favorite part of this weight loss journey. It was literally about my body's composition, about figuring out what the right target range, healthy range for my age and height, for my body fat mass and water. And then, you have all your bones and skin, and then your muscle mass. It was super important for me this time around, not like the first time in 2019 where I didn't, lift weights. It's really important for my age, and I want to be strong and defined. And so that was actually what I said the most. I was like, it's not so much about the body fat, but it's about me getting stronger and having this, helping my bones get stronger. But I loved that this machine, right, was able to tell me so much more data beyond the scale. And again, I don't have any, connection to InBody. And some of these tools, like you will need to, if this is something you're interested in learning more about, you will just need to Google and look it up. I mean, I do know that that's a big thing right now, to have more like home scales that have more body composition. But this was important to me, to not have this just not knowing from a regular scale, but having somebody who understood, this sports science and the science behind fueling your body and especially my body, right? My particular desires and health for my age and height and body shape and everything like that. So all that to say that when you combine the muscle I had already started to build, and then when I started to eat and learn, she taught me so much just about macros and why certain things happening, and what it meant, and again, about the different protein, fat, carb levels of different foods. She never pressured me, but I just automatically became more curious, and she was coaching me through all of my mind drama with everything. It was so helpful. And this is when really I started to see those results, when I then combined the food aspect into the hydration and muscles that I had already gone down the path that I already started there. So working with her, and I'm still working with her. And the reason why is because I'm not quite there yet. I have lost 20 pounds. And that is something you all can understand and relate to. But let me tell you, within there, it is this is with sustained muscle, and this is with being properly hydrated. And this is literally where my body composition. So it's not just about the 20 pounds. I'm actually 20 pounds lighter, and the body fat mass is now almost there. I still have a few more to go. And then I'm also so strong, right? And feel I've just, built my muscles. And so that's the whole thing that I just want to say is so is this body composition thing, not just about the weight loss. And this is all tangible things that I'm giving you. But let me tell you what has also happened, because I took these small steps to get 10% healthier, and then I did it again and again. And because I was open and willing to not believe my old kind of mindset stuck, this will be too hard, this won't work for me, this will be too restrictive. And because I sought out a professional to help me learn what I couldn't know, there's been so many intangible results as well. And so here's some of the things that I can just think of that I know. Definitely, I've proven to myself that I can set a plan, stick with it, and see it through. And it's not like I needed to prove that to myself, because I have done that many times with other goals. But in this one, I can say that I remember my October person, and I'm so glad that I saw that small and consistent would be the way, not the overwhelm and overhaul. So I really built trust in my own ability to take consistent action. And even while life was busy, right? Even when I had a few curveballs, I was still able to take consistent action. And that intangible result is also so, those are even sometimes when you think about, they just are, they're the real wins, right? Some other things that come to mind is I've learned how to enjoy life while still making progress in those goals. I went on several trips. There were several celebrations. My anniversary trip was in there, right? And I still held to my health goals while we were away. I feel physically stronger and more capable to move about my everyday life than I did a few years ago, for sure. And stamina. On our recent vacations, we've had lots of hikes. It's very active travel, adventure travel, and my stamina was just so high. And lifting, biking, walking, they all feel easier to me. I've raised my baseline of fitness. I've got more consistent energy throughout the day. I don't have those major afternoon crashes. My endurance is better in activities that used to feel tiring. I get better sleep. I now know I have this more awareness. I now know how different foods and workouts and hydration, how they affect my body more than I ever have. I can tell the difference between true muscle soreness and fatigue and when my body really does need recovery days. I definitely read my body's hunger cues and fullness cues a lot better. I've stayed consistent even though I've had natural fluctuations with my numbers, right? I don't make them mean anything negative about myself. I've learned that sometimes you have off scans, I would call them, when I'm on the InBody machine, right? But I don't let that define the whole journey. I've developed more patience with the whole process, trusting the trends that are happening, not just the day or the moment. I kind of view this exercise now as something that's supporting my life, definitely supporting my future life, but I don't look at it as a punishment for myself. So if any of you out there look as a punishment, that might be an intangible result that you will now develop if you were to start small. I've found ways to move that I actually really enjoy that are beyond my whole dancing. Like in Pilates, I love the Peloton rides. I've really been into hiking more than ever in my life. And I've always loved swimming, but I am doing daily swimming. Strength training has just become part of my routine now because I know that that's part of the exercise that I want to do for long term. It really is for long-term health. That strength training is definitely just feels like part of my routine now. I've integrated healthier habits that feel so normal. Like the drinking of the amount of water that I drink now feels so normal. When as before it was such an uphill battle. Protein, right? I've just learned so much more about food. Protein intake for me is kind of second nature. And I love that I set a really strong example, right, for my family because my husband has enjoyed lots of health benefits too, because we've kind of been in this together. So lots of intangible results that I want to say have happened. So I don't, even though it's in the title, and I know that that's what we're all, a lot of us out there just want to talk about weight loss, but there's so many other benefits that we could concentrate on and results that would come besides the weight loss. And so before, I know this is kind of long, and I don't even know if it all makes sense or if it's just fun to hear me talk about it. I want to be able to leave you with some hows, how I did it besides what you've heard following my 10% healthier program myself, and then having a nutritionist help me, and then what I've done with my exercise. But I think what I really want you to know are these things. That I I want you to ask this about yourself when it comes to your health and weight loss. Are you just in the stage of wanting it, or are you in the stage of committed? Because I do believe that if you're going to lose weight and get healthier, that the wanting stage won't do it. So for me, the how was I needed to get to the place, and this is with our mind, everyone. Our mind creates how we feel. And so what is your mind thinking now that's just creating wanting to make changes? And what would it take for you to be thinking on a daily basis and believing for you to actually feel committed? Because committed is what you want to get into action on it, okay? And the other thing that I want you to know is I did not do this alone. And so how I lost 20 pounds at age 50 would be I didn't do it alone. Like, first of all, I didn't just want it, I was committed. That's how I did it. And then I didn't do it by myself. So let me tell you, I told you about the coach who did the work that I listened to and actively watched coaching and looked up and learned about like some of the tools she suggested. So she was part of my weight loss journey of how I did it. Second, my Peloton instructors, okay? They offer encouragement and motivation and inspiration. They always offer wonderful quotes or ways to look at my exercising, telling me great job for showing up. And so I really literally feel like they were part of why I lost 20 pounds is because of their help and of their talking to me as I'm going, their encouragement, their motivation, their inspiration, and they're celebrating me even just for showing up. I would also say I didn't do it alone because my clients, I was there helping them. And I would tell them this in my group too. They were also helping me. So I couldn't have done what I did if it wasn't for those clients of mine who were in the 10% Healthier program. My nutritionist coach. Yep, I was so proud of myself for setting myself up to get to the place where then changing of the food would be so effective. But her coaching, her help, her teaching, her science part of it, again, her coaching, right? That I could reach out and how she helped me through it. And then lastly, but most importantly, my husband, because I couldn't do this without him, especially the food part. That's another intangible result. I've gone to the grocery store more now with him. My husband was the cook before, so he had to kind of be on board and be willing and help to follow like these meal plans, but he was. And I tell him all the time that when we're celebrating the health changes that I've made, that I could not have done it without you. And thank you so much for your partnership along the way. And so, I definitely didn't do it alone with the pre-coaching, with my clients, with my nutritionist coach, my husband, the Peloton instructors. It's a team. It's a team, right? And then the last way that I want to tell you all of how I did it is I didn't rush, right? I teach this to my clients and I want to, for more peace in your life, you have to realize that the only thing why we would rush is to get a feeling. And that feeling is available to you right now. But the mindset that there is no like destination. Like I wanted this to be a lifestyle change. There's not a destination because right when you get to the end, like, yes, you'd be like, yay, I lost this amount of weight, high five. Awesome. This is so good. I mean, that is awesome. I do want to celebrate it, but we have human brains that will then just say, well, now what? So let's not rush to get somewhere if we want this to not be like this endpoint, because then we'll just have this new goal to focus on, right? So I didn't rush. I was like, look, it's okay if it comes off slowly, if I build muscle slowly. This small, consistent, I just didn't want to stop. And how I did it is I didn't do too much at once. That is where the 10% healthier mindset comes on. All right. Well, I have already done, I guess I'm looking up right now. My thing says 49 minutes. Wow. Okay. So there's two things that are going on in my head. I'm like, surely there's something that I talked about that was helpful for you today. And then the other one was like, my other part of my brain is questioning, was this just open mic rambling, beneficial at all? Or does it need to be, more succinct? But you know what? I'm going to pick up my B- tool that I teach my mamas to stay out of perfectionism and say, I think that something I've said today might help somebody out there have more peace around either starting or what they've done now already, and maybe a shift in a mindset. So just to sum up, in the last 10 months, I have become healthier by using my 10% Healthier program, which by the way, I can put in the show notes. The 10% Healthier program is a self-study guide, self-study online program that you can buy. And I'll put the link in there. And then you can see that you can have an option to have some private coaching sessions with me during your time in the program that I can help you along with your goals. So definitely in the show notes, check that out. And then hopefully you will just have, maybe some new perspectives and thoughts. But number one is, I feel like how it worked for me is I became committed and I made small, consistent changes. Okay, everyone. Was that it? That's all I have for you on that today. And please, if you have any questions, just email me. Danielle@daniellethienel.com, and I'm happy to elaborate or connect with you. And for everyone who is on your health journey and beyond, know that I wish you peace throughout all of it. So I'll be back next week with another episode of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. And until then, may peace be with you always. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. If you found value in today's episode, I'd be so grateful if you could subscribe and leave a review. It not only supports the podcast, but ensures you don't miss out on future episodes packed with insights and tools to create peace of mind in your busy mom life. And if you're of the Catholic faith like me or any Christian mom seeking to feel better in any area of your life and to show up more calm, connected, and confident, I can help. Become an empowered mom who knows how to bring about the changes you desire, no matter the circumstances. Whether you need one-on-one guidance to get there, prefer a group coaching program with like-minded women, or a self-study course, I've got you covered. Explore my private one-on-one packages, join my Busy to Balance group life coaching program, or delve into my signature course, Divine Time. To find out which path is right for you, let's meet and see what's the best fit. Schedule a free call with me at daniellethienel.com or send me a direct message on Facebook or Instagram at Danielle Thienel Coaching. And also, don't forget to get your copy of my book, The Cyclone Mom Method, How to Call on Your God-Given Power to Remain Calm, in Control, and Confident as a Busy Mom. Dive into the digital and bonus audio version when you go to book.daniellethienel.com/new-book. You'll find all the details in the show notes too. Until next time, peace be with you always.